You really shaved the under there. You looks really...
No, normal. No, normal. Normal level of follicness.
Shavedness.
Thank you.
Follicle. Gravitational follicle. That's what beards are. No tapping your pen today.
I'm in a good mood today. I'm not going to lose my shit about anything.
Really?
Interrupting or
Give
nothing.
it time. There's the buttons I haven't pressed yet, then obviously.
Let James speak first, and then you'll change your mind.
1, 2, 3. Shall we start? Shall we start?
We should do this.
Shall we
Absolutely.
start? Over to you, Peter McPete. Popcorn Pundits.
Podcast.
Week.
23?
Yeah,
That sounds
Bit
about right.
released.
that sounds about right to me.
Yeah, nobody loves you when you're 23.
Nobody, don't they?
No, not according to my Blink boys.
What's the date?
The date today is Thursday, the 4th or 5th of April.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not time.
It's the first Thursday in April.
It's the first Thursday of April. This is your Popcorn Pundit, and I'm James Michael Mulcrone. Who are you?
I am Peter James Ungar.
Who are you?
Hey, I'm Nikki.
Nikki McNicky.
Yeah,
Nikki
Nikki
McNicky.
McNicky.
We are your
She's
Popcorn Pundits.
Yes, we are.
That's right. And we are here to enforce the need to watch the cinema on a weekly basis. We're here
to
to
watch the cinema. No
Yes.
films in it.
just walk
the
past it,
cinema.
just stare at the
Keep
building.
an eye on it.
Stare at it, it might move. We're here to ensure that you keep the cinema tills flowing
Yes.
nicely.
Absolutely. We didn't go together at
We
all.
didn't. No, not this week.
You've been to the cinema a lot this week.
I have indeed.
I've been a nickel bit.
Yes,
And and I've done a bit of homework.
you have indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, which you loved.
I
Or
loved.
might not have loved. We'll find out in
I
a
loved to
moment.
some degree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we are your Popcorn Pundits. We like to point out exactly what's going on in the top 10 in the UK cinema charts. We're going to quickly review a couple of films that are out at the cinema at the moment.
Some new releases and then an old film or an
Yes.
older film, which you set me as to watch at home.
A streamable movie that
Yeah.
you're going to tell us what you thought about it.
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Editor, producer,
Sounds good to me.
and all-round good guy.
Good guy.
Yeah, Nicky McMickey.
Good girl.
Yeah, well, it's there, isn't it? Anyway,
What's there?
it's just them.
Not last time I
It's just
checked.
them. Petey McPete, would you like to give us the top 10, please?
I certainly will. So starting at number 10
Yes.
is the famous duck animation Migration.
Oh, poet.
Yeah, isn't it?
That accidentally rhymed and I'm really proud of it.
I'm quite proud of it too.
They're still migrating.
Yeah,
They
no,
are.
me
It's taking
knackered.
ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their arms must be really exhausted.
They'll be on their way back soon.
Exactly.
Number 9, Wicked Little Letters. Number 8 is Crew.
No idea what Crew is,
It's
but
a-
we love Wicked Little Letters.
Indian Hindi language heist comedy film.
Oh,
Sounds,
okay
it
then.
looks quite good actually.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Number 7.
Is Immaculate.
Yes,
It's not Immaculate.
by the distributor Black Bear.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Number 6 is... Number 6? Number 6 is Mother's Instinct.
No, nothing about this.
It's got Anne Hathaway in it, and I
Really
haven't
wanted to
seen
see
it.
it.
And it's one of those ones I've been struggling to see again. But there we go.
Okay, interesting.
What's number 5?
Number 5. Made by Swami Movies.
Puliyatam. I'm going to do that again. Adupuliyatam.
I'm in. I'm
Nice.
impressed with it.
I mean, it may sound nothing like it's supposed to sound, but it sounded very impressive.
So it's a well-known businessman experiences several disturbing visions.
Yeah.
He decides to meet a yogi.
Yeah.
The yogi further tries to help him fight a vengeful spirit.
Right.
And it translates to Goat and Tiger Game.
What
Sounds
does?
amazing.
What does?
The name of the film.
Does that? Goat and
I'm not
Tiger.
going to say it, Peter. Goat and Tiger Game
Right.
is the translation.
Okay. Thanks for that. That's number 5.
Number 4 is June the 2nd. Number 3, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
That's correct.
Number 2 is Godzilla X The New Empire.
Yeah, not the Frozen Empire.
No.
It's all about empires at the moment,
Absolutely
isn't it?
right.
Have you noticed?
And
Yes.
Number 1 is Kung Fu Panda.
It
Number
is.
4.
Which I have to say, I've only ever watched the first one.
We have to go and see
Jack
that then,
Black.
don't we? It's still with Jack Black.
Still with Jack
It
Black.
will always be with Jack Black.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, otherwise
He is
I think people stop watching it.
Yeah.
Honestly, to get an AI thing doing it. That could work. couldn't it?
Deep quick, didn't it, James?
Straight there.
I think there's another actor strike coming
Exactly, yes. So, yes, that's your top 10 at the cinema. Now, obviously, we've got to take in consideration this is during half term
Yes.
as well. So, obviously, the films that we'd recommend for half termies are going to be Kung Fu Panda, obviously.
Correct.
Godzilla. Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Just the really good
And,
Migration.
Immaculate.
and Late Night with the Devil. Immaculate. We're not recommending that
Come
for
on,
the kiddies.
kids, we're going off to the cinema.
Why is Dad ahead of the queue? I have no idea.
Why is Dad going into a different screen? Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Right,
So there
we
you go. That's your top 10 at the cinema at the moment. April the 2nd. Not April the 1st. April the 4th. April the 5th. And that sort of dates as well.
April the 4th is
Yes,
where we are.
exactly.
Thursday, it's 8:30 in the morning. Happy days. Right, so
Yes.
you and I,
Yes.
well, you went to see 2 films this week.
I did indeed.
And I went to see 1 film at the cinema
Yes.
this week. I was going to go with you, but I was a bit sleepy bobos, and
You were.
I decided to not go.
You need to get your beauty sleep, didn't you?
I did.
Yes.
But
Yes.
last night at 9 o'clock.
Oh, did you go last night? Did you?
I went
I went
last
in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I did an afternoon.
I was going to
viewing.
do that with you, but I had some golf to play yesterday, so I decided to go to the late night showing.
Right.
And of Godzilla X dash the New Empire.
Yes.
That's how you say it, is
That's
it?
it. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think X is obviously because the film before was Versus.
Yeah.
Now it's X.
Yeah.
In almost like a collaboration when Adidas will merge with a label to make something really groovy.
Well, the next one will probably be why. Why?
No, that's my question. But we'll come to that in a moment.
Yeah. Okay. Should we start off with some information? Like it's directed by Adam Wingard.
Why did we admit initially that we have been quite verbally slagging this movie off even before we watched it, mainly through the trailers and also for the fact because you've seen the first 2 ones, haven't you? You've seen the very first Kong movie,
Yeah.
the very first Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
You've seen
I didn't see the last one. I didn't see the Godzilla versus
Kong. Okay, right. So because the story was quite important.
Yeah, and this is one of the things I was quite worried about. I don't think the plot line was too difficult to kind of pick up.
So, unfortunately for the makers of Kong X Godzilla, Peter and I had also seen Kong Godzilla -1 this year, which was incredible with its retro quality and its attention to detail and its homage to all historical good things about Godzilla.
I think we should start this review with the review of the film before we start talking about how we feel about it.
But I thought I'm just laying the ground out.
Okay.
Because we've been quite vocal about this movie even before we watched it, and I'm just making it sure that all our listeners.
I'm just
know.
worried that I'm going to start going, and I want people to understand what the film's about before I start ranting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
What was the film about, James?
Well, it's about these 2 big monsters
Yeah.
that are going to save the planet.
Yes.
Okay. So it's directly straight after Kong versus Godzilla, where they've obviously Kong and Godzilla have caused some sort of alliance together. It's an alliance from distance. So Kong has to live under the ground in this underground world place that we didn't know about, and Godzilla is allowed to walk around Italy and have a quick kip.
Did you know about the hidden world in the last film?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, fine.
Only at the very tail end of the movie, you went, oh, we found somewhere for him to live.
Okay.
We've found this brand new planet within a planet.
Yeah. Okay.
So the story starts off as if you would know this already.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it wasn't that difficult.
I can't imagine it was.
No.
So it's obvious that when you've got the 2 big monsters getting together, a third monster has to come into play to kick off. Mm-hmm. But that comes in later.
Yeah. So we're the Godzilla beginning bit.
Yes.
It's basically Godzilla is kind of going around the planet, sucking up
radiation.
nuclear radiation from different places,
That's right.
and is beefing up basically. Is going to the gym and doing some.
He's taking his protein shakes from all different parts of the world.
He is getting ready to kick some monster ass.
Exactly, and the whole of the planet are watching him do this.
Yeah.
And they have no idea why he's doing this, where it's going to happen.
And they don't really mind, even though he's wiping out entire cities while he's doing it.
Oh yeah, he's walking through Little Italy as if it's nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is Little Italy because it's little and he's big.
Yeah.
But it's really Italy.
Yeah.
You get that?
Yeah, I got it.
Little
Yeah, just let it go.
Right.
Yeah.
He got it.
Yeah.
He just,
So anyway, so you've got Godzilla beefing up. You've got King Kong, who is so human now in the way
He's animated.
he's animated.
Yeah.
It's almost not worth you putting fur on him now, actually, to be quite honest with you, because he's so humanised.
Yeah.
So much more than the first couple of Kong movies. To the point where you almost expect him to talk. He looks to me, he's Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
He's got the beard. He's got a bad tooth. That sort of thing. And it's all very and what they're doing is, as directors and filmmakers, they're humanising the monsters, Kong and Godzilla, to obviously sell toys, to continue with the storyline, and to bring in a younger audience. That's how I see it.
Even Godzilla was really quite humanised, wasn't
Almost
he?
to the point where in the advert it really annoyed me.
Yeah.
But I'll explain what happened in the movie in a minute.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
So a little bit more plot.
Yes. So it's not a complicated plot. So at the end of the day, you've got Godzilla getting beefed up, Kong becoming more and more human and living in this underground Earth. He comes back to top Earth because he's got to see the dentist.
Yeah.
They fix his tooth.
And then they basically come up with the assumption that Kong is feeling lonely.
Yes.
And is trying to find other monkey folk.
That's correct. And he's doing it very, very well in his facial expressions, that he looks lonely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a bit
You
lonely.
need to watch this on YouTube if you want to see that facial expression.
Exactly. Yes. So the story continues, and then it's becoming more and more relevant that there is going to be some other monsters coming along fairly soon.
Yes.
Godzilla's pretty busy still, not only beefing up, but also fighting off one or two of the smaller monsters that are just
Yes.
hurtling around the Earth at the same time.
To get a power up.
Yes.
Is what they said.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, like the Power Rangers.
Yes, it was.
Ooh.
Yes.
morphine time.
He did a lot more finger time.
Yeah.
So eventually, Kong comes across, obviously after having his tooth fixed and going back to under Earth, he comes across a tribe of Godzilla, King Kongs that are just the same size as him and everything else, and all of a sudden he thinks, oh, he's met some mates. And it doesn't work out that way, does it, Peter?
No,
What happens?
It doesn't. Well, there's a bit of a alpha male off, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah.
Yes. And did you notice that it's the gingers versus the non-gingers?
It's like your household, isn't
It's
it?
exactly like my household. So the orangutan,
Except the gingers.
the
don't
orangutan
concept.
versions of the god of the King Kongs are evil. They're angry. Their humanity's the last thing on their checklist. They're quite ugly, so that means they're allowed to be evil because they're quite ugly.
They're
They're
bad monkeys.
bad ape.
Yes.
Bad ape. And so obviously that's all kicking off, and so you suddenly realise that Kong and Godzilla have to team up to beat said naughty giant orangutan.
Yeah. That's brilliant. That's well done. That is pretty much.
Yeah. However, the orangutan's got he's got a pet to one side.
Yeah.
He's got a Godzilla version of his own
Yeah.
that he's able to manipulate with the power of a giant glowing scepter at the end of a wispy whip thing.
It's one of those glow sticks that you get from the high street
That's
fair.
exactly what it is. He's able to control this Godzilla type creature that is apparently is responsible for the last ice age. So realistically, what's happened is you've got the orangutan King Kong and King Kong. You've got the Ice Age Godzilla and Godzilla, and they have basically, it's like a wrestling match at the end of Claw.
What was the worst bit about this film? I'm done now. We've done plot. Yeah, I'm going to rant now.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Do you know what? Can I just say something? The worst bit about this movie was my preconception of it. I felt personally.
You liked it.
Well, it got to a point. I went with a family, and I'm
Yeah.
going to ask them to send a review for next week so that we can have a recorded review of this. I went with very open eyes, thinking to myself, do you know what? I've been slagging this film off relentlessly for the last couple of months because every time I see it on as an advert, I'm there going, this looks rubbish. They're running like humans and so on and so forth. And yes, they are running like humans. And yes, they've thrown all of the conventional books out of the window in reference to any stylized Kong, any historical references to any decent Godzillas. It's all thrown out the window. There's lots of bright purple. There's lots of bright green. It might as well come out the Marvel most recent sort of colour palette. However, saying all of that, this movie knows exactly what it is. Okay, it's unashamedly cheesy. It's unashamedly sort of just living off the backbone of all the other Kong and Godzilla movies. But the animation's not brilliant. The head baddie is not scary in any way, shape, or form. But it's not for us, Peter. This film's not for us. This film is for the family that I went with two young boys wanted to see two giant dinosaurs.
And did they love it?
They loved it. Absolutely loved it. And even the annoying little ginger little ape type creature that was following Kong around all the time.
I wondered where you were going.
The baby Kong.
Yeah.
Initially, incredibly annoying, too human, far too human, to the point where I thought to myself, is that Chris Rock? I thought, okay, at one point.
Yeah.
And I thankfully I was able to put aside all those those angry feelings towards the fact that it was too human and cheesy and so on and so forth. And I was able to embrace the whole movie. And I actually really liked it.
No, you didn't.
I did. As a movie, as a standalone movie, as a cheesy Bank Holiday Monday monster fest, it worked for me.
Okay.
For what level it was.
I'm really disappointed.
I know.
I'm so disappointed.
I know.
The animation is like, it's the worst animation I've ever seen in anything
very bad.
ever.
I agree.
Like the opening scene, like which we've seen on a trailer,
Yep, absolutely.
like probably 1,000 times. When you actually see it on a big screen like that, it looks like it's been done with wax crayons, and it's terrible.
It is.
The monsters.
Yes.
They don't have a consistent size.
No.
Depending on who's around them,
Yes.
they're either the size of a skyscraper
That's
or
right.
they're twice the size of a man.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at him, like, he was the size of that man's finger a minute ago, and now he's like half his size. It doesn't make any
Even
sense
the moths
whatsoever.
and everything else change size.
And then they find the hidden place.
That's right.
And the expert goes, oh, look, this place is covered in Iwi hieroglyphs.
Yes.
And they weren't, were they? They were
No.
covered in digestive biscuits.
That's right.
Yeah. And then from these digestive biscuits,
And the fact that they'd never seen that part of the universe before, and yet they're still able to read it.
like she's been reading that language for the whole of her life, and this happened and that happened. I'm just like, this is absolutely terrible. And then the monster comes out, like the bad, the ginger monkey comes out, and you're just like, that's the worst. I mean,
It was like a cartoon ginger monkey.
it was absolutely.
I kept
Like
thinking,
Donkey Kong.
he's only a puppet.
It's just like, why does Godzilla need to like power up for this tiny little monkey?
But it wasn't, was it? It was for the Ice Age Godzilla that he had to power up against.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't really, did he?
And the Ice Age Godzilla looked really tame. I thought.
Yeah,
he looked like he could have been from Twinkie Twinkie Land rather than Angry Angry Land.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. I've seen a few episodes.
Have you seen? Did you see the climax of it at the end?
I saw the monster.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, the big dragon type thing.
Did you see when there was a good dragon and a bad dragon?
No.
Okay, there's a good dragon and a bad dragon. Okay, and that's what this was aspiring to be. Except in
like Harry Potter.
in Game of Thrones, the good dragon and the bad dragon are epic, and like there's one that. Who's got blue eyes and breathes out blue, and the other one is
red.
And this is just kind of like, it's almost like
I know.
a kid's drawn. Yeah, it's just like the director's son's drawn a monster, and they go, "Oh yeah, we'll put that in. It's better than what we got."
You're right.
Yeah,
but I still thought it did its job, what it was meant to do.
Okay, I hate this so much because if you put the name Godzilla into the title of a film, I feel you are obligated to follow certain rules.
Wow.
And there are no Godzilla rules followed in this. We saw -1.
We did.
And I felt that -1 was a Godzilla film which is so not about Godzilla.
Yeah.
And that, to me, so Godzilla...
It was about the people, about the civilization surrounding it.
And this is just a storyless, plotless, effortless...
Absolutely.
...bag of nonsense. I hope it falls out the
If you've
top
got
10.
children, go and see it.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you've got children, go and see it. Put aside Peter's snobbery. I've created a monster.
I don't very often come out the cinema cross, but I was really pissed off when I left the cinema.
I think because I went in with such low expectations.
I was really looking forward to. I think I'm more disappointed about your review of this than I am the film. I was expecting you literally to tear up your Odeon subscription.
Not at all.
In front of her face.
No. Because I tell you the reason why. Because as I said right at the very beginning, it knew exactly what it was. It didn't pretend it was anything else, not in any shape or form. Unlike Immaculate Friend that pretended it was a decent horror movie. It wasn't a decent horror movie.
No, but I mean, we saw Ghostbusters. We saw Ghostbusters last week.
That missed the mark.
That was a poor film. And I thought this was a fraction of the quality of Ghostbusters.
Oh, it was.
There was elements of good in Ghostbusters.
There was.
That I couldn't find anything redeeming about this film.
I think the whole package is the thing rather than... You're right. The special effects are shocking. The storyline's awful. The plot is barely feasible. But one of the characters, one of the lead characters, is brutally murdered one scene. That's right.
They don't even mention it.
I know.
It's just like tells you off for interrupting.
I know. Yeah, but it's true though.
It's just like why? Don't get it. Don't understand. Really confused.
I think you're emotionally invested.
I was going to say
the level of hatred towards this movie. I think you just need to just relax, just breathe.
I'm giving it a 3.
I'm giving it a 5.2.
What did you give Ghosty Busters?
You can't.
Are you actually giving it a 3?
Yeah. It was absolutely horrific.
When I score a film, I do not rate it against another film. I rate it against how I feel about it.
So you've given it a 4.1 in total.
There you go.
But they have to have a what? A 4.1?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough.
4.1.
But our grading system is supposed to be relevant one film to another.
That's very true, yes.
Yeah, so we can't just pick a random number out.
No, but
today I feel like this is an 8.
No, but don't forget, we are judging the movie as it is.
Yeah.
Okay, each of the movies as it is. And we're not judging the movies against each other, we're judging the movies how we feel about it.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
I totally agree.
And however, completely different genres, completely different filmmaking techniques, completely different audience as well.
Ghostbusters and this.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think Ghostbusters would have a slightly older audience.
Has a broader audience.
Yes.
But it's still supposed to these are both Easter holiday movies for the Kiddywinkles.
Yeah,
they're both 12As.
Yeah, but life is a rich tapestry of different characters of people, Peter.
Yeah,
they don't fit. They're square pegs and round holes.
We'll leave that there, shall we?
And the IMDb score is 6.7.
6.7.
And do you know what? It'll be packed in the cinema. It was packed when I went to see it yesterday afternoon. I'm sure it was that packed last night.
So it was probably a third full.
Yeah.
And I like to listen to the hubbub on the way out. Mm-hmm. And there was one group who were massive Godzilla fans, and they were talking about Mothzilla.
Yes.
And apparently there is a Mothzilla movie. And or Mothzilla is a baddie in one of the original Godzilla films.
That's right, yes.
And they were the only people who were remotely complimentary about anything in the film.
Ooh.
There was a put it this way, my crowd wasn't a 6.5 crowd.
Well, put it this way, the family that I went with, one of the lads gave it a 10.
Sick! Oh, really? Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad they enjoyed it.
And you know what? For me personally, and this is why we do this podcast, and it's important that Peter and I see things from completely different perspectives, because if we both saw things...
It'd be boring.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
James sometimes needs to admit he's wrong.
There's not a Mothzilla that I can see.
Yeah, I think he was
there is a Mothara.
That's what I said.
So that is Godzilla's love life. It's a moth-like monster, and according to a website, she's Godzilla's wife.
Can we also talk about the angst-ridden child who was angst-ridden for no reason whatsoever the entire way through the film?
Oh, the one
Joy.
with the
Yeah,
leather
she's
band
like,
round her head.
Hi, did you have a good day at school? She's like, what's that about?
Wow. She had to keep it up, didn't she?
Oh, it's
Would you like
painful.
a few quick facts?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's actually 38 films in the franchise. 33 of them are Japanese, and
They're the
five
good
of
ones.
them are 5 of them are American. This film is released exactly 10 years after the release of Godzilla, the original one.
Yeah.
The film that launched the American franchise side of it.
Right.
With Jamiroquai.
Likewise, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the Godzilla franchise overall.
Oh, interesting.
Good fact knowledge.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And then the change of colour for Godzilla's atomic breath going from light blue to a reddish tint signifies a total boost in power.
When he goes,
He also ate a pink monster.
He did.
Spoiler alert, Godzilla's movements and mannerisms, namely in the scene where he is sleeping curled up inside the Roman Colosseum, is based off the director's cat called Mischief.
Yeah, that was very Tolkien. That moment there, very Tolkien. Right, so we've taken care of Godzilla X.
Oh, there was a gaff as well, wasn't there? Including the Colosseum. So when he sleeps in the Colosseum twice. And
Yeah.
the first time when he gets out of the Colosseum, he destroys it.
And then he gets back in the second
Yeah.
time and he's completely okay. I think they rebuilt it.
Yeah.
I think they rebuilt it, or they had 2 of them
Yeah.
just in case.
Exactly. It says Roman Colosseum. It doesn't say which one.
Exactly.
So anyway, so we can't always save cinema. Sometimes we need a little bit of help from the filmmakers, but maybe the second film you saw this week was better.
Well, the second film that I went to see at the cinema is a classic 1970s horror movie, and I purposely tried not to watch any trailers for this film. As soon as I saw the first couple of frames with the advert, I thought, I've got to turn this advert off. I've got to turn it off because I don't want to get too excited about this film.
Yeah.
I love the actor in this movie, and however, you're going to have to pronounce his surname.
Okay, let me have a
Yeah,
look.
his name is, and it starts. That's a D, by the way. Have a get your mouth around that.
Das Malan... What, I can't say... Das Malkian.
Yeah.
David Das Malkian.
Yeah, what an incredible name.
Get you, Peter.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's incredible. He plays a chap called Jack Delroy, which is a lot easier to
Yeah.
pronounce.
It's not pronounced that way.
No, Delroy.
Delroy. Dyslexic.
Does he have a friend called Rodney?
Just called Jack, okay? He's a host of a television series, a television talk show in the 1977.
And is this filmed the same way as The Holdovers, like in that 1970s?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very,
Nice.
very much so. And what anger.
Nikki's hungry.
What I really before I go into the storyline with this, what I really love about this film, it encapsulates everything that I love about filmmaking because it just goes in knee deep into the whole. The vibe of it is so 70s. It's better than the 70s. It's that way inclined.
It's like an homage to the 70s movie.
Massively, and very similar to the Holdovers in that respect. Now, the premises of the film, the storyline of this film is that Jack plays a television talk show host, and I think he was I'm not quite sure what he did before, but he was a successful businessman, and then he went into TV shows, and then during the 1970s he became incredibly popular, and then it became a classic ratings war between himself and Carson in the 1970s. And they're using old footage to show the fact that they were battling out of the ratings and so on and so forth. And it was a late night television show, had that classic 1970s vibe. He wasn't quite getting there. And they were obviously showing his background about how well he was doing on his personal life. He was married to a very successful actress. He was also part of a gentleman's club that met in the woods ever so often and had like secret meetings and so on and so forth. But in a gentleman's club sort of style. Well... It was insinuated there was a little bit of secret meeting going on there. Okay. So that set the story really, really beautifully. And you find Jack virtually a couple of years after they've launched this talk show late at night, and he comes across as, even on his very first episode, he came across as mildly desperate. To the point where he would come and go, I really hope you like this show. You know, this is going to be fantastic. And he's trying to sell it all the time. He's like a salesman all the time. The only thing I took in with me to the cinema was a quote that I accidentally read, which was, "This film is Alan Partridge Goes to Hell." And it is. And it is. And it's terrifying. It's absolutely brilliant. It's terrifying in its conception. The storyline is as scary as anything you want it to be, and the concept is scary as well. So it's a classic storyline where he's bringing on coasts, and he's trying to raise his rating. So obviously he's getting more and more risque with his hosts that he's bringing on, and he's got a Halloween special. Okay, so so the story is set, and you know it's all going to go wrong. You know the story is set up, the stage is set, and you know something bad is going to happen.
The Carrie special.
Pretty much so, yes. So he brings on a clairvoyant, and this clairvoyant is exactly what you want him to be. He is. I wrote his name down here somewhere. Where is it? Christo, the mind reader. Okay, and he's exactly what you want him to be. He walks on, and he goes, "Hello. Can I? Oh, I've got something here. I've got something. Can I hear Mary? Is there a Mary in the audience?" And it's exactly how you want it to be. And it goes wrong in the way that you want it to go wrong. And then things start to happen. And then he's told that somebody else is coming along on the show later on. That it's also a clairvoyant, but from a demonic level. Okay. And all of a sudden he stops and he goes, "Oh, hang on a minute. I'm feeling something." Okay, and then he starts losing himself, and then you can really see that he's not acting anymore, and he gets quite ill, and you know something's happening, and it immediately puts you on that sort of tender hook. Now, throughout the entire film, it is literally set as if it's a television program in 1977. Okay, so you get the adverts, the ad sort of breaks, and every time they have an ad break, it goes into black and white, and this is hidden footage of them talking. And so obviously, every time something goes wrong, you can see the backstory of him, and he's like, "The ratings, and oh yeah, and so many people are watching at the moment. We've got to do this, and we've got to heighten it up, and we've got to really push the audience, and so on and so forth." And it makes it even worse that the studio executives are also in the audience rating him as well, because he's at that point where he's near the end of his career, and
it sounds quite high energy and quite stressful.
It's the stress levels is an undercurrent. So I'm probably making it sound more animated than it is, because there is a low of animation with it. And so anyway, so Christo is having issues with the voices that are coming to attack him from all sorts of different sides. And then to mix things up even further, they bring in a skeptic. You see, so this skeptic comes on, and he is an illusionist that's turned into a skeptic. Okay, so he's able to come along. And he does like parlor tricks with cards and so on and so forth, and he's a real piece of work. And his personality is clashing with the host, and he's dissing all of the psychic readers. And then eventually they bring on this girl who has been released from a cult. And she spent an entire life in this cult, and this woman has basically adopted her. Okay, and this woman is also a journalist. Okay, so the journalist and the co-host Jack are obviously getting on quite well, and he's brought her on to say, "You obviously know this girl. She's possessed. We'd like to do a depossession of her live on television." And it all kicks off. In a night, it's. To me, it's clever. It's slick. If you liked Scanners, if you liked any of the Omen films from the 1970s, if you like Rosemary's Baby, it's this got at least 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is an almost perfect horror movie.
Ah, very good.
There you go. That's all I've got to say.
Perfect.
Did you know it's based on a true story?
No.
Godzilla.
No. So the The Carmichael character
Yes.
is very clearly based, including physically, on the real-life James Randi, who was a talented musician who became a famous psychic debunker.
Right.
And he started an institute that offered a large reward to anyone who could reproduce their supposed paranormal powers in controlled conditions.
Right.
Over the decades, nobody was able to win the money. And I saw somewhere here, apparently, the actual specific episodes of the Don Lane show that inspired this horror movie were those that featured a Mr. Uri Geller and a Doris Stokes, who was a British spiritualist, professional medium, and an author. Sorry, one last fact.
Go for it.
Famed horror novelist Stephen King has actually praised the movie, and he said, "I got a screener. It's absolutely brilliant. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Your results may vary, as they say, but I urge you to watch it when you can."
Seriously.
So it's Stephen King approved.
See, it's a classic. It's a classic, and to me,
I'm really upset.
it's going to be.
I'm
I'm thinking about going to see it again. It is a true homage, and it's respectful, and it is done so the pace of it is perfect.
Oh well, let's go and see it again this week. Though.
Yes.
If you go and see it again, I'll go and see it.
I'm giving it an 8.9.
Oh bloody hell! That's nearly a big old 9.
Yeah, I'm even giving it an 8.9, and I may. Do you know what? That score may increase after I watch it the second time.
I was about to say, do you think you can improve that score?
I think I can do, because I think I was so in the world watching it. I think I probably missed a lot of the stuff that I shouldn't have missed, which is very unusual for me, because I was relishing in it. It's one of those films where I was sitting there going, I don't want it to stop.
That's
And
so
then when
good, though.
and when the climax came, I just thought, no, surely there must be more.
So why do you think that there are 2 films of this kind of 70s type production that have come out in such close succession? Is this going to be like a new genre, do you think, that we're going to kind of be reliving the 70s and 80s?
I'd like to think
filmmaking
if they're able to put a decade on a cellulite screen in a style that is truly true to that decade, I'm all in.
Well, it sounds like that was amazing.
Yes.
And the Holdovers was also brilliant.
It was.
So,
yeah,
great.
Yep,
As
absolutely.
long as it's used
It is.
sensibly, then happy days.
7.5 on IMDb.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and that's not what it should be.
No.
On Rotten Tomatoes is usually my way forward. When it
How
comes to
good.
it.
I'm glad you got to see one good film this week.
Really enjoyed it. And that actor has been waiting for this role for a long time. He's the same. Have you seen the new version of the Suicide Squad?
No.
Where he plays a very creepy character, and that just basically immerses bubbles. And he actually made that movie because he was so creepy. And for him to come into this,
Yeah, cool.
I thought him having his own movie, very, very pleased.
He was also in The Dark Knight. He played
was.
Joker's thug.
Yes, right, that's right. And he was also in June as well.
June Part 1, yes.
And 2.
Well, yeah.
June 2nd. and
June the 1st and
June the
2nd.
Peasy McPete. That was Late Night with the Devil. Go and watch it at the cinema. It's only at the cinemas late in the evenings at the moment. That's the only time you should watch this movie.
It is very late.
What day would you give it? Day of the week?
It's a Friday night horror movie.
Yeah.
It's a Friday
It's a
night.
Friday night horror
Not
movie.
Thursday.
No. Friday night horror movie. P.T. McPete,
Hello, James Michael McQueen.
I gave you some homework the last couple of weeks. You didn't watch it the first week.
I did bring that up again. I just
It's
didn't
important.
have time one week. I went on
It's
holiday.
very rare that I throw stones.
Yeah,
Very rare.
very rare. But
And
I
that was
went
a
away on
soft
holiday,
stone.
and I'm sorry. I came back. You gave me homework. I'd seen one of them,
Get to a defensive,
and
doesn't
I
it?
watched the other one.
I don't know why. I was only pointing facts out. These just the facts.
So this week, James,
Yes, PT.
you sent me the Timothy Chalamet film Bones and All.
To finish off your Chalamet sandwich before it disappeared.
Yeah, this is like the custard and a Chalamet trifle.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
2019, I think it was. I forgot
It's a
to
fairly
write that
recent
down.
movie.
2022.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
fairly recent movie.
I forgot to write that down.
Would you like to let the listeners and viewers know what the name of the film was?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else then.
No.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did as well, actually.
I saw Bones and All.
Bones and all. Make a note of that. Get a bit of paper. Write it down.
Apple TV, Google Play, and Prime. Sorry, Peter.
I was just about to say that I watched it on a free stream on Prime.
There you go.
And which does have adverts on it, so maybe choose one of the other streaming options if you can, because
It's become quite annoying now, hasn't it?
this is one of those films in particular
You can't
where
have
an
advert for
advert
GIF in
break
it, can you?
can't. It's a sit down, make yourself comfy. So
I'm getting myself comfortable.
I tend to watch my homework movies on a Sunday morning.
You
when
do indeed, 6 o'clock or something
the
like that.
Ungar family are fast asleep,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the same.
Yes.
Had a couple of sausages ready, nice pot of coffee, ready to go.
Was sausages the best option for this movie?
Definitely not.
I was gonna say.
So, the plot of this film.
Yes.
Well, the start of this film is it's a small town, American town village.
Yeah.
And there's a father and daughter, and the daughter kind of appears to be quite misfitty. She's got an unusual, uncomfortable haircut.
Definitely.
And she dresses a little bit out there, and she goes to school. And it's quite apparent that she doesn't have a huge.
She's not cut from the
friendship
same
group.
cloth, is she?
She's a little bit of an outsider.
Yeah.
But that's kind of quite lightly taken, and there's people that want to bring her into their friendship groups. And,
She's not completely alone, though, is she?
No, not
No,
at all. No,
not
she's
at
just
all.
kind of a bit on the edge.
Yeah.
And anyway, so this girl very kindly befriends her and says, "Look, we know you want to have more friends.
Yes.
I'm having a bit of a get together at my house on Saturday night. Why don't you come along?"
Exactly.
And she goes, "Well, I can't. My dad doesn't really let me out at night."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, why don't you just wait for him to go to bed?
Yeah.
And then jump out your window like
We all do it.
all the Americans do in all
Yeah.
the movies.
We've
You know,
all
jump
done it.
down that little lower roof
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
down the apple tree,
trestle.
exactly.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
And come round to our house.
Exactly.
So this is all feeling quite mean girlsy.
Yeah.
It's kind of feeling like it's this like little kind of girly loving, and it's all quite sweet, and yeah, it's just kind of peaceful. I'm just like,
And it's not loud, and it's quite sort of pacey as well, isn't it?
yes,
It's just-
yeah. So the pace of this film is it's a slow and ploddy classic.
Exactly.
Anyway, so she's round at her house, and they're kind of painting each other's nails, and they're lying on the floor and on their backs.
I've
and
been there.
chatting to each other.
Yeah.
And then our main star chews the finger off the befriending friend,
She does.
which I've got to say is the most shocking thing I've ever seen, ever.
It's a crunch of the cartilage, isn't it?
It's so unexpected, because
Yeah.
I didn't see anything about this film
No.
beforehand, apart from the name. I mean, obviously, it would suggest that there
Bones
was
and all, you think to yourself,
there was suggesting some ickness to come, but I wasn't
not quite tomahawk.
No, I was kind of expecting her to be a victim, and she's not. She is a cannibal,
She is.
and basically
She didn't choose to be there, did she?
No, she was born a cannibal.
Yeah.
And so she chews the finger, eats the finger, realises what she's done, and she's like, "Oh shit! Just ate my friend's finger.
Yeah.
That's not going to go down."
Her
well."
friend's not happy about it.
No, it's
There's lots of screaming.
yeah. And then she runs home.
Yes.
And she goes, "Oh, Dad, I did a bad thing. Dad, I did a bad thing." And then basically the dad says, "Right, you've got 3 minutes to get all your shit together. We are out of Dodge."
Yes. Because this has happened before.
It's happened sometimes before, absolutely. Anyway, so then they go to some type of safe house somewhere in the countryside, and then the dad leaves her a letter and a note, and basically,
I've had enough.
can't be dealing with this nonsense anymore. That's it. You can't just be going out and eating people. Goodness sake.
How many times have I told you?
Come on, Maren. Pull it together. Anyway,
Not before your supper.
And basically he tells her that her mother was of a similar ilk. Is that why she tries to find her? I can't remember. She has to,
Yeah.
she wants to go back and find her mum anyway,
Yes.
and her mum is thousands of miles away
Yeah.
on the other side of America. And so Maren basically decides to take a bus trip. And,
It's a road trip.
Yeah, it's a road trip movie. Yeah, absolutely. And okay, so this movie is kind of two movies spliced together, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I agree.
This is the most boring romantic road trip movie in the slowest of ploddiest paces, intercepted
Yeah.
by the most gruesome bloodbaths you've
Yes.
ever seen in your entire life.
And also creepy scenes with our other characters arriving.
So basically, the first kind of extra character she meets in this is the first town she goes to. She's met in the street by Sully, who's this basically old Native American guy, played by Mark Rylance, and he basically is kind of weirdly there and uncomfortably there. And then it kind of transpires. Well, he basically turns around and says, "I could smell you," and he knows what she is.
Yes,
and basically he is the same. And so
that's our thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So he kind of befriends her a bit, or kind of brings her in a little bit, and offers some shelter.
Yep.
They dine together, and then in the morning,
as cannibals would normally dine.
And. Yeah, and then in the morning she gets a bit freaked out and basically disappears.
Yes,
and then the next so there's a thing in this where they keep putting up 2 letters on the screen, which I after about 4 or 5 I realised were the American states, and I thought it was actually spelling something out, and so I wrote them all down, and then halfway through realised I was just being and stupid, and then still did, and then the last one says July for some reason, but anyway, there we go.
Weird.
I just went off on a track, sorry. Anyway, so then she bumps into Timothy Chalamet.
Absolutely no chocolate in his pocket, was there?
So Finn came down while I was watching this movie, and and he was just like, "Is this James's homework?" I said, I said, "Yes, it is." And it was a moment where they were just at a fun fair, so
just chatting away.
So he was
throwing darts at balloons.
Like, this isn't as James is normal. This is all right.
Yeah.
And he goes,
give it time.
Is that Timothy Chalamet? And I said, yes, it is, Finn. Good spot. And he goes,
that's unusual for James, isn't it?
What do you think of his outfit? And I was just like, what do you think of his outfit? And he was just like, he goes, I quite like it. The jeans are quite cool. He's got big ripped knee jeans. And he's got quite a cool waffly t-shirt, and then like a really kind of funky. It's kind of almost like you'd call it a full button knit, wouldn't you? And
exactly.
it's almost like Harry Styles.
Yeah,
wears
he's got that
with a pearl
homeless
neck.
chic.
Yeah, it's a kind of thing, and this is very much designed to make Timothy Chalamet look absolutely beautiful.
Yes,
we do need to talk about the director Luca Guadagnino, who clearly has a little bit of a thing for Timothy Chalamet, because he directed that and Call Me by Your Name. So,
there you go.
So
exactly.
It's definitely a love fest.
Yes.
And then basically some bad stuff happened, and Finn was just like, "I'm just going to leave you to it. I don't really care what Timothy Chalamet's wearing anymore."
No.
But anyway, so this is a, as I said, a very slow-paced road movie.
Yes.
With a very interesting twist to the love element of it, is because it's basically can romance survive when you're human flesh-eating monsters?
Yes.
And they do meet. They meet other.
They do.
Cannibals along the way.
Good, bad, and indifferent.
And there's a real kind of scared respect between them, because it's not like in True Blood, where all the vampires are kind of like bestie mates, and it's like them against,
because there's
humanity.
lack of trust.
There is, and also because they're transient. Obviously, the Marin and Lee, who are like the main couple in it, they're worried that they feel like the other flesh eaters are going to think that they're going to be stealing their food and things like that. But they're all weird, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, you would be, wouldn't you, after a while?
How many times have you seen this? 3. Okay, so the bit I don't get is when they're talking to the hillbilly dudes, and they're talking around a campfire.
And that's where the conversation of bones and all comes along.
Correct. I don't get the quote. I don't get the thing. So basically, the main hillbilly has a sidekick who it transpires actually isn't a cannibal.
He's not a chemical vampire.
He's chosen to eat humans alongside this cannibal.
That's right. So he's a human that doesn't have that need to eat, because all the other cannibals have got. They've got that. They can't eat anything else. They have that need, like vampires. They have that need to eat human flesh.
But they do eat other stuff in this, actually.
But it's not as.
But they have to eat human flesh to survive.
Exactly.
And it's not a want.
No,
it's a
need. Yeah. Whereas a human who's tagged along with them
is a freakoid.
He's actually more evil. He's more of a freak than the cannibals.
Of course he is. Yeah, absolutely. This is his hobby.
He's chosen to eat human flesh. Yes.
Anyway, so the guy who is actually cannibal refers to this one who isn't, and says, something along the lines of, well, he was doing okay, especially considered he did the bones and all.
Yes.
And then Lee, the Chalamet character, basically turns around and goes, "What do you mean bones and all?" And then he says, "There's before bones and all, and there's after."
Yes.
And he basically says that once you eat a human, bones and all,
Yes.
it's like the first time.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get that.
So initially, you see them. They're just eating flesh, aren't they? Of whatever they're cannibalizing.
Yeah. Cannibalizing?
Cannibalizing. I like that. Anyway, whenever they're cannibalizing, that was what they just go straight. They go straight for the guts because that's the softest.
Boobies.
Yeah, exactly. And then the legs and so on and so forth, and the bits and bobs like that. But they've never taken the part where they're eating the bones and all, obviously. And the next level is the bones. So once you've had bones as well as flesh, you don't go back.
Right, okay.
You literally, that's it.
Okay, I wasn't sure whether that was kind of like a reference to another...
No, not another movie. No,
okay.
no, not at all. No.
Right,
It's almost overly simplified when they've
enough.
explained it to you.
Yeah, and basically this movie kind of moves along, and there's a really, really great twist at the end.
There is.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it felt very American.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know it sounds weird to say that, but it felt the vastness.
Okay, I'll tell you how this could happen, right? So if I went to the cinema with you, yeah, and you had your usual 3 wee stops,
Yeah.
you might think it was just an American road trip movie.
I know, exactly, without the cannibalism in between.
What's happened to Lee? He's got a bit of blood on his chest.
Yeah. Why are they being chased by police?
I'll tell you after the movie.
Yeah.
Because the actual cannibalism scenes are so short and so infrequent that it makes it really shocking when they occur, because you're kind of just like, oh, there's got to be one scene,
and it's not.
No, and
exactly.
the movie's over 2 hours long. It's 2 hours 10 minutes long, and it's not too long. It's a really, really well put together movie, and it feels the right length. I absolutely really enjoyed it, but it was just really weird that you don't really. There's no explanation as to why or what's happened to them or anything. It's you just have to take it.
Yeah.
As that's what
And
they
nothing,
are.
and nothing's truly explained.
Nothing at all.
Why they're cannibals?
No.
How they're going to end up, and so on and so forth. Their backgrounds even, and that's what I really, really like. Because I really detest films that just overly explain. They idiot-proof the whole film. Whereas in this case, nothing was explained.
Nothing.
You literally just landed there and you were just watching these cannibals perform their
I think
thing.
this is the earliest we've ever had a James moment. I mean, in a movie.
Yeah.
And I was quite happy about that.
Good.
It did make me worry about what was to come after when we get a James moment about 4 minutes into a movie. But
How horrific is it going to get?
Exactly
No.
right. But it was actually really good.
Good. I'm really pleased you like them.
Yeah.
It is, and I think it's one of these films that you'd be scrolling through your various screening channels, and it's quite easy to skip over. Because I don't think the image is necessarily engaging. That's advertised in the film. Bones and all itself, if you don't know anything about the film, it could be just a generic horror movie. It doesn't really push the fact that it's got Timothée Chalamet on it as well. And I think they've done that on purpose because he is sort of stuck in a family genre type thing at the moment, from a consumer point of view. So I understand why they've done that. But overall, I think it's a very cleverly paced, very clever cannibal movie that's going to be around for a long, long time.
It is really intelligent. It is. It doesn't, as you said, it doesn't put everything on a plate for you.
No.
And it doesn't try to explain things for
Not
you.
at
It's
all.
just, this is just what it is.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Yep.
It's 6.5.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
6.8 on IMDb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it's just a really good movie. I'm not going to watch it over and over and
No.
over, but I really enjoyed watching it.
Good.
there is a description here that says the mood veers sharply from tender romance to extremely intense violence and horror, and back again.
It does. and you almost forget the extreme violence when it goes back to the romance side of things.
because it's just so nonchalantly. It's
You're kind of sort of thinking, I hope they stick together. They're so good together, aren't they?
Young love.
They're eating.
None of it's really done out of malice, apart from the baddies are a little bit malicey, but none of it's done out of. They never. Does that make sense? It's never.
There are elements of guilt that they talk about.
Yes.
In it? And there is viciousness without a doubt.
Oh yeah, there has to be.
Yeah, and because they have to consume at the point of death, don't they? And so it's
Almost like the heart is still beating.
Yeah, I mean the guy from the fair that they killed
They took him out quite badly, didn't they?
definitely wasn't a happy ending, was it?
No, nearly was.
It nearly was.
Nearly was. Nearly was. Exactly. Started off as a happy ending, ended up as not as a happy ending.
It has won 4 awards and had 75 nominations, 3 of which
We know what this is.
Chainsaw World.
Fangoria Chainsaw Awards.
Well done. Well done.
Oh, actually, I was looking through the rewards earlier on, and one of them, Chainsaw Awards, was for the music. I've forgotten what the
Best score.
Best score.
There was Best Supporting Performance for Mark Rylance and Best Lead Performer for Taylor Russell.
Nice.
The
Good.
score you would have loved. It was brilliant. The music in this film is absolutely
It is. It's very good.
awesome. It's
Yeah.
very out of left field.
Yeah.
It's very, very ambient. It's very cool.
Almost like it's been made by Air,
Yeah.
the French group.
Yeah, I was thinking of Flaming Lips and that type of
Yeah,
that kind of
absolutely.
genre. I thought it was wicked, really good.
That low key keyboard. Right. Okay. So we've got the scores for that. We like that. We're encouraging people to stream that on Prime or watch
Or
it.
maybe on Apple, if it's on Apple, because then you won't get the adverts.
Exactly. Or pay for Prime.
I was just about to say,
Pay
was
extra
there an
Prime.
option to pay for Prime?
I think
I
there's-
don't think there
I think you can actually pay for.
An advert-less version.
Yeah. Exactly. But
Do not watch it with adverts.
no,
please.
it just kicks you off.
Yeah, it really kicks you out of the.
It does
out of the moment.
indeed.
I
So,
always find that...
I'll remember all of the acronyms for all the American states by next week.
If
that's
you don't
okay.
mind, that'd be
And we'd like to take them
absolutely.
in order, please.
Yeah, no worries.
Please, yeah, from top to bottom. Before we get on
That's
to
how they
your.
eat people.
It's how from top to bottom. Bones and all. So before we get on to the my next week's homework with you, Peter McPete,
Yes.
which is, you'd be pleased to know, is going in a slightly different direction.
Okay, cool.
Okay, not completely. I can't jump ship too far, but
Just zones, not
yeah,
all.
exactly. But we tipped off last week briefly of some television series, some box sets, really, really briefly, and I didn't mention this before we started the podcast, so I do apologise. I mentioned The Three Body Problem. You mentioned The Gentleman. What would you recommend streaming at the moment?
I'm not streaming any films at the moment because I'm watching trashy reality TV.
Well, that's fine. Well, it doesn't have to be films, because we're talking about television series, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Just really briefly. So I've literally just finished The Three Body Problem. And if you liked Game of Thrones,
I've got a little bit of a guilty confession.
you've watched it from
Not
start
all
to
of
finish.
it. No.
Yeah.
So I am 3 in.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you start watching it because after I mentioned
Yes.
it? Now. Thoughts. Just don't give anything away, but thoughts.
It's really unique,
Isn't it?
It's really, really different.
Yeah, very, very much so.
So one of the reasons why I have slight issues with TV over movie is that it always feels a little bit kids stage play for me,
I know what you mean.
and it does feel a little bit that for my enjoyment of it.
Yep.
But what I've seen so far, I really like.
The concept is incredible.
Yeah, it's really
The
good.
concept is incredible. There's 1 or 2 characters in it that are really a bit grating. We'll talk about that off air later. But the overall concept stays true all the way through the series, and it's very, very clever. So I do recommend. It's from a clever box set that involves sci-fi and so on and so forth. Put aside the some of the fairly tenuous acting in it and some of the fairly sort of hammed up sort of performances in it. It is it's a very solid series, and I'm really enjoying it.
Ah, cool. Okay, well I'll finish it for next week.
Good.
There
Okay.
is one that I want to watch, which I believe came out on Netflix at the start of this week. It's called Cleaning Up. It's a 2019, I think it was on ITV, with Sheridan Smith. And it says, while cleaning officers for a London financial company, a single mother with a gambling compulsion resorts to insider trading to pay her debts.
Ooh.
It sounds quite interesting, so I think I'm going to give that a try.
Okay.
It's only about 6 episodes.
Let
so
us know next week what you thought about it.
Yeah, I will. I
That'd
might
be
not
cool.
have finished it by then, but...
Good.
And actually, sorry, I just thought there is one that I watched that I really enjoyed, and it's called Dead Waterfell. And it's a rural Scottish community. It unravels after a crime destroys a seemingly perfect family but leaves behind a single survivor who is also likely a suspect. It stars David Tennant. So
Oh, I've seen that.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Tennant does always give good,
He's angsty,
Yeah.
isn't he?
isn't
So
he?
it's
He leaves you feeling really uncomfortable.
Or
when you watch him.
happy.
He plays evil so well.
He
Because have you
does.
seen when he played Des Nielsen,
No.
the serial killer? Oh, if you ever watch that, he
It's very
plays
good.
it
Very,
so
very good.
well.
I agree with you completely. Okay, so that's
You still would.
that's our top 10. I have. That's our top 10.
Jealous.
It's our 2 movies of the week have been Godzilla X King Kong, and then obviously we've had.
See, even that annoys me. The fact that the title is so shit.
I know, but just leave your powder dry. Late Night with the Devil is definitely worth watching, and then Pete has obviously given us his rundown of Bones and All.
Yes. 2 hours 11 minutes that was.
If you,
Yeah.
I've got Peter's homework, and then we're going to be encouraging you guys out there to get in contact with us. Have you seen? I've read.
Did we not just do homework?
No.
Oh, was that just an add-on
No, we were
extra?
just talking about
Oh,
what
okay.
we recommend on streaming.
What do they call that extra bit of homework the kids get to do now? It's like merit points or something. That's just like
I
my
don't
merit
know, I
points.
haven't been to school in years.
Yeah. Sorry, James.
Bit like coursework.
It was on chalk and slates for when I was at school. So Pete's homework this week is I've yet again very unusual for me as a dyslexic individual. I'm going to recommend a film for you that I've read the book first, and then I sourced the film afterwards,
Right, okay.
and then watched the film, and then I was so pleasantly surprised how well done the film was. I'm now asking you to watch the film,
Okay.
not read the book. Okay, it is a film that stars Dustin Hoffman, Ben Whishaw, and a whole mixture of an amazing. Oh, and also there's Dustin Hoffman. There's also another gigantic actor in it as well. It's just gigantic actors all over. It's set. It started a century, last century, not 2000. In Paris. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen the film Perfume?
I don't think I have.
I think you'd remember it.
Okay.
If you'd
In
seen
that
it.
case, no.
No, no. Admittedly, yes, it is a James film. Okay, it's not a horror film, though. Okay, it's more of a social commentary. Mm-hmm. Okay, have you got any facts on it at all?
I'm trying to find some that won't give away what it's about.
What year was the film released in?
So it was released in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2.5 hours. This one.
Yep.
It's, yeah.
We had to buy it on Prime, unfortunately. It's not very expensive. It's
That's
about
fine.
three or
That's
four,
right.
three or
That's
four,
okay,
3 or
no
4
problem.
quid.
I don't mind if it's good.
The tagline is the story of a murderer.
It's got, as James said, Ben Whishaw, who is Paddington Bear, and
do
didn't
like
he
him
play
so-
Q in Bond?
He did indeed.
Dustin Hoffman and the ever wonderful Alan Rickman.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, cool.
So
Good cast.
it's great
Oh, great.
cast.
Good cast.
Oh, and Rachel Hurdwood, who I think played one of the Weasleys in Harry Potter.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Ginger.
There's
How did you guess?
a lot of ginger in this movie.
Fair enough.
Yes,
That's why he
but in a
likes
good
it.
way. That's why I liked it.
There's only a good way.
It is only a good
The
way.
only
Well,
way to change.
Okay, so there we have it. The films we're going to watch at the cinema this week.
Oh, that's a good question. What are we going to see at the cinema this week? What, you haven't booked anything yet.
I
so
have.
far?
I've got the new Omen movie coming out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
Very excited about that. Can't remember what else
Oh,
I've
you
got
booked
booked.
the original Omen released.
No, this is I think it's called The First Omen.
Oh, okay. Well, I just read that and thought it was the first Omen.
No, this is First Omen. I've got that booked for Friday night. I think.
Okay.
I can't remember what else I've got booked out for the week though.
Okay. Well, we'll put a little teaser out in the week, shall we?
Absolutely,
And say what we're going to see.
There is one, I'm not sure if it's out yet, which looks quite good. Monkey Man.
Oh, I'm very excited about
Yeah,
that.
that's Dev Patel, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but he's directed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of his
Produced, directed,
it's
and
one of his
acts.
projects, and I think he's been watching a lot of Bruce Lee movies. That's his obsession with it. Bruce
It's
Lee.
it looks like it's going to be out, especially at the Everymans from today.
Oh, good.
Thursday.
We're going to see Monkey Man.
We are right. So, would you like to prepare us out?
No.
Okay,
I
David.
think you should, James.
No, I'm not doing it. I think Nikki should do.
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'll do it.
Come on then. Especially for you, Lawrence, at 0.2 speed. It's your Popcorn Pundits. Thank you so much for listening. Say goodbye, Pundits.
Give us a follow on Instagram and find us on YouTube as well. And Facebook.
Comment, review, anything you've seen in the movies, let us know and we'll shout you out.
And if you want to send me any voice
That's what I was
messages,
about to say. Send us a voice clip. We might play it. If
We like a voice note.
we love a good
We
voice
love a
note.
good
Yes,
dulcet
let us know
tone.
what your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Particularly if you don't agree with our points of view.
Well, either or.
Particularly if you don't agree. Adios, amigos.
See you next week.
Nice. Nice.
Same jacket as last week.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've got my seersucker again.